Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Gorman, owner of Creative Computing, Princeton's only Apple specialist store, located at 423 Wall Street across from the Princeton Airport on Route 206. Welcome to our show, Apple Talk by Creative Computing. Here we discuss everything Apple, from products to software, even technical issues. So the big announcement this week is this Wednesday coming up, September 12th, is supposed to be Apple's new product announcement. Widely expected to be an announcement of the new iPhone 5. There's some potential, which I'll get to in a moment, for announcement of some other products. The iPhone 5 details that have stuck through with the rumors are worldwide LTE, meaning that it will work with using 4G LTE speeds on data plans worldwide. They got in a little bit of trouble for that announcement with the iPad, the new iPad, because it didn't quite work in every country, and they had to stop the marketing in certain countries. Now it will. The details are we'll have a new dock connector, and another rumor that goes with that is that there will be an adapter available so that all your old dock stuff works with it, but initially at least that will be available only from Apple. No third-party licensed products for that. Hopefully we'll be able to sell it as well, but that we won't know until it's actually announced. I expect we will. More rumors, it will have a 4-inch screen. That's like this one, but a little bit taller. It will not be any wider, just taller. I'm looking forward to that. In fact, I'm going to get one. This is an iPhone 4. I skipped the 4S, I'll get a 5. I'll skip the 5S too, or whatever that might be. Unfortunately, it will not have NFC. They appear to have taken that out. My guess is the 5S will have that. It's nice with every model if they can introduce some new hardware, like or at least some significant capability. Like the 4 added the compass, the 4S added Siri. So the 5 could add a big screen, and the 5S, if they stick with that naming, could add NFC. So we'll see. Primarily the back is metal. The iPhone 4 has glass back here, so it's subject to breaking on both sides. They're kind of shying away from that, so it looks like it'll have a metal back. Adding to the speculation that on the 12th there will be an announcement, Apple has a graphic out there showing a 12, like the number 12 with light behind it, and the shadow is an actual 5. So everybody's pretty confident, us included, that there will be an iPhone 5 announced this Wednesday. And pricing-wise, it's rumored that the pricing will be what the iPhone 4S is now. The iPhone 4S will become cheaper like the iPhone 4 is now, and the iPhone 4 will become cheaper like the 3S is now, in fact probably free, and the 3 will go off the market. Right now the 3 is pretty much free, and you can get a 3S for $99-ish, so we'll see. The iPad mini, there's a lot of speculation that this is going to happen. I expect it's going to happen, but it looks like it may not happen September 12th. Apple doesn't like to share the spotlight with its own products, so we'll see. It will also supposedly have a smaller dock connector. It will be a little less tapered than the new iPad. The new iPad, this is a phone, but the new iPad is tapered along the edges. On the smaller iPad that's supposedly coming out, it's more vertical like this one, because rumors are they just need all the room for the electronics inside. So we'll see. So right now the rumors are it will have an official announcement sometime in October. iPods, supposedly also coming out on the 12th, will be new iPod Touch, Nanos, and Shuffle. A lot of changes to the Touch, but I'm not sure what they are, although I would guess the smaller dock connector. Since the announcement of the iPhone, iPod sales have not been where they used to be, because everybody just wants the phone, which is an iPod plus all these other great capabilities. The phone is the most useful and most popular electronic gadget in history. Adding to the rumors, FedEx is expecting a heavy shipping volume September 21st to 24th. Supposedly, lots of small, lightweight packages. That would be the iPhone. And they've rescheduled some training to another date due to this expectation. We shall see. So that's it for the 12th. Keeping going, iOS 6. Just an interesting little tidbit. We've talked a lot about iOS 6 here on Apple Talk by Creative Computing. Major airlines have all confirmed passbook support. The idea is, say a passbook, it holds your boarding pass. As you approach the gate, it detects that you've approached the gate, and your boarding pass appears on the screen without needing to unlock the phone. And you just, beep, done. If the flight changes or whatever, your passbook would be automatically updated. One person out there who's running a developer preview of iOS 6 on his phone was taking a Virgin Atlantic flight, and he brought up the boarding pass on the Virgin website, and the iPhone detected it and said, "You seem to have Passbook installed. Would you like to have this boarding pass added to it?" So it appears to be reasonably active, at least with some airlines and certain airports. So we shall see. Mountain Lion. 10.8.2 was released to developers. I'm sure you all have 10.8.1 already. It's been out a week and a half. 10.8.2's latest release is 1 week since the previous 10.8.2. Apple has asked developers to focus on Facebook integration and the Power Nap feature. So we shall see. They appear to be moving quickly to ensure compatibility with iOS 6, which makes sense. When the iPhone comes out, the phone, because it's in your hand all the time, people really want every feature on the phone to work well. Like notifications was out on the phone before it was on the computer. That's okay, but if it's on the computer and not on the phone, or the computer not keeping up prevents the phone from working, people don't like that. So, makes sense to me. And supposedly what they'll do is release Mountain Lion on the day of, or like a day before, the actual phone is released. Supposedly they're going to announce it on the 12th and release it on like the 24th. What else does Mountain Lion have? It will supposedly merge phone numbers and emails in iMessage. That's nice. Right now I have friends and family who have iCloud accounts and are iMessage users. And when I say text them, I have to choose if I'm texting their phone number or their email address. If I text their email address, they can still respond on their phone, and they can respond on their computer, and the conversation can pick up anywhere you want. You can be texting with somebody, you walk in the house, bring up your iMac and continue the conversation, and the person on the other side has no clue. But right now, depending on how you start the conversation and whether it's a phone number or an email address affects the usability of iMessage. Apple can link the two together, so no matter what you choose to text, iMessage works. I'd like to see that. Keeping going, new MacBook Pro 13. The MacBook Pro 13-inch is the most popular Mac ever made. Rumors are they're coming out with a new one, probably a late September or early October announcement. They don't usually do as much fanfare on the Macs and the MacBooks as they do with the iOS devices, but we shall see. Anyway, supposedly it's going to have a Retina display. I believe this is going to happen. They have it on the 15. The 13 is the most popular Mac. Of course they want it there. I still personally use a MacBook running Lion, and I've not upgraded my own machine because I'm waiting for this one, because I believe it's going to come. But this is the first official rumor I've heard. It will also be thinner, have an Ivy Bridge processor, SSD drives optional, USB 3, probably no optical drive. Apple has sounded the death knell for the optical drive. Sept, interestingly, a case manufacturer, has announced their Smart Shell, which we carry at Creative Computing, for the new 13-inch MacBook Retina display model. It's a very thin coating that you can put around your Mac. It protects the surface and lets you color it in any of a zillion colors that you might like. And even the Smart Shell is extra thin. There's rumors of new iMacs. The new iMacs is supposed to have Retina displays and SSD options as well. And also might be a late September, early October announcement. Apple TV, the set-top box talks that we talked about a set-top box last time here in Apple Talk. Well, when I read about this, the set-top box is not going to be released so soon. It's broken down with talks between Apple and the various cable companies. They don't want to give up their revenue models. They don't want Apple to be the one distributing the device that connects to the TV, and so on. We'll see. Apple could, if nothing else, come up with a set-top box with a cable card slot and let that be that. I don't know what will happen. Parallels released Parallels 8 for Mountain Lion. It finally incorporates Retina display. Dictation works in Windows. Every Apple technology works. It works with Mission Control. Very fast, very nice. You can get that at Creative Computing. Awesome software. I use it myself. If you need to run Windows on your Mac, that's the way to go. Firefox at Home was withdrawn. Firefox, Mozilla had released Firefox at Home. It was a little Firefox browser for the iOS devices. Firefox Home would sync to Firefox on your Mac, allowing your bookmarks that you had open on the computer to be open on your iOS device. That's really all it did that was special, that competes too much with Safari. It wasn't really getting anywhere. They've withdrawn it and released it to the open source community. So maybe it'll come back in some other form. There's a bunch of other browsers out there, but under the hood, they largely use the same WebKit engine that Safari does. And Safari's pretty good. We'll see. I use Safari. Court cases. A lot of news on the court cases going on. I'll go through them one by one. In the U.S., Apple and Motorola both asked for 60-day extensions. This is because both companies are launching new products and both companies want to see if they want to reflect the others in their lawsuits. Crazy. Apple and Samsung, all over the place. In the Netherlands, Samsung has said that Apple's multi-touch is superior to Android's multi-touch. Apple disagrees. They say it may be inferior, but not enough to matter. It has the same basic functionality. This is an attempt by Samsung to convince the court that they function differently enough that there's no point in this lawsuit. They're hoping to avoid a sales injunction, like the giant one they just got in the United States. They're monitoring there's a case going on in Germany that I'll come to in a moment that the Netherlands is also monitoring to see if it has a bearing. If Samsung loses, sales bans in the Netherlands and possibly other European countries will occur. And Samsung's main distribution center for Europe is in the Netherlands. So if Samsung loses this case, they may be prevented from using their distribution center for other countries that the devices have not had sales bans on yet. In Germany, Apple is fighting Samsung and Motorola in both cases regarding multi-touch patent infringement. There's 4 separate trials scheduled between September and October. The judge there could allow an appeal to the EU Court of Justice. It's like our Supreme Court. If that happens and Apple wins in the European Court of Justice, there could be a continent-wide or European Union-wide ban on various Samsung products, the Galaxy and the Nexus. In Korea, Samsung's home turf, the Korean government is investigating Samsung due to antitrust complaints from Apple. Apple says they are anti-competitively wielding its wireless technology patents, meaning that Samsung is anti-competitively using the patents that it does have to prevent competition. That's against trust laws. Certain things need to be licensable. We'll see how that goes. Last year in a hearing, a judge issued minor fines, like $20,000. You know, Apple made that during this sentence. But they banned the sales of the iPhone 4, iPad 2, Galaxy and Nexus phones, and the Galaxy tablet. So I don't know where this will go, but it's interesting that it's in Korea, no less. Here in the United States, the Department of Justice approved a settlement with 3 of 5 major book publishers. This settlement, unfortunately, not deliberately, but this was what happens. It restores Amazon to a monopoly position where they can just set the price on the books as they want and only pay the publisher's wholesale type pricing. Apple and 2 other publishers are not on board. They say that this is illegal. Although oddly, they all agreed to a similar settlement like this in the EU. Again, don't know what will happen, but we will keep you posted here on Apple Talk by Creative Computing. iPhone glass. A judge in California dismissed the lawsuit that said that the glass is not strong enough. He said, "It's a well-known fact of life that glass can break under impact." And the guy who brought the lawsuit didn't have his phone in the case. He dropped it and the glass broke. Fortunately, I've dropped mine and the glass is broken too, but I have new glass. We also recommend, by the way, a screensaver, a plastic cover for this, a screen protector, a shield. We sell a great one. You can see here, totally clear screen. J.D. Power has done a smartphone satisfaction survey. The iPhone was the clear winner, scored 849 out of 1,000 possible points. That's really good. The number 2 phone was an HTC, and it had 790 points, a difference of 59 points. The average is 783. Very low average scores. They also found that 20% of owners report malfunctions on their phone from time to time, and that affects the overall satisfaction level. Probably why Apple hasn't managed to surpass 849. Pandora. Pandora's stock has been going up for the last few months and lost all of those gains last week due to a rumor of Apple offering an iTunes music streaming service. Apple's service supposedly is initially aimed at iOS devices. It will eventually also be on Mac and Windows, probably via iTunes, but not necessarily. It's going to be free, paid for by ads, and it will steer users to the iTunes store for various things, like you listen to a song, you can probably press a button and get it, stuff like that, especially with the one-click service. Apple is also in the top 10 of Fortune's fastest growing companies. It's up 13 spots from number 8 last year. Number 1 is a company called Silver Wheaton from Vancouver, Canada. They're a silver sourcing company. And that's about it for today. It's actually a slightly short show. I'm kind of surprised, but I'm glad that you all came and watched. Let me just give a brief recap, and then we'll go on. And then I'll wrap it up. So September 12th is the new announcement date, this Wednesday coming up. We'll have a whole new segment about whatever's announced. That'll be next time. The iPhone 4 expected, iPods expected, the Mini and new iMacs and MacBook Pro later this fall in time for the holiday season. iOS 6, a little bit of conversation about the Passbook system. Mountain Lion updates coming to developers. New iMacs, Apple TV, the issue with the cable providers, figures, doesn't it? Firefox Home withdrawn, a whole bunch of news about the court cases around the world between Apple and other people who it says infringed the patents. The smartphone satisfaction survey, Pandora, and Apple being one of the fastest growing companies. And that's about it for today. Thank you for watching Apple Talk by Creative Computing. Again, I'm Jeff Gorman. If you would like to suggest a topic or a question for our show, please email appletalk@creativecomputing.com. Please visit Creative Computing for all your Apple needs, sales, or service. We are located at 423 Wall Street across from the Princeton Airport on Route 206. You can call us at 609-683-3MAC. Visit us online at www.creativecomputing.com. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, yada yada, on all of them. We look forward to seeing you. And mention Apple Talk by Creative Computing to any of our sales staff and receive 10% off accessories. Thank you.